Welcome back to another video. We are currently in the Northern Territory and we are driving to a place called Mataranka where there are some thermal hot pools, so very excited to go and visit there. As you can see, our lovely chips on the windscreen still, and it was such a long drive that we actually ended up stopping over for the night at this beautiful camping spot. It was the most incredible sunset we've ever seen, and we had our van set up, did some cooking, and funny story, we actually had to move in the middle of the night because, as you can see, we'd sillily parked next to the toilet and the wind changed direction in the night and started blowing all the smells into our van, so that was pretty gross. But yeah, this is the route that we took. Total drive was probably about 10 hours and around about 1,000 kilometers, so pretty long drive, but we're used to it now. We stayed at this lovely little campsite that was at Bitter Springs, so it was called Bitter Springs Cabin and Camping, and it was great. The only thing was that you couldn't book online, you just had to turn up and book when you got there, but we were lucky there was plenty of space. And the fantastic thing was that it's right next to Bitter Springs, so the thermal pool's nearby, and we literally could walk about 5 minutes and we were there. And Bitter Springs is very cool. It's almost got like its own natural lazy river, and if you've got pool noodles or some sort of float, we had a big rubber ring, you could just lie on it and it would literally just carry you around, and the water was really clear and it was warm like a bath, so very cool to visit. And there was turtles and little fish floating around, and we had a little friend come and visit us in the night on our fly netting as well. He was very cute, or it might have been a she, who knows. Our next stop on our Northern Territories adventure was to Kakadu National Park, and we stayed at Yellow Water Campground and Caravan Park, and we were there for about a week, to be honest. Unfortunately, we did decide to go during the middle of a heat wave, and bearing in mind that our van doesn't have air conditioning, this probably wasn't the cleverest of ideas that we've had, and we actually spent a lot of our time in the swimming pool at the site because it was the only place that we could get cool. And they did have areas where you could cook that had fans and things, but 40 degrees every single day, it was just a little bit unbearable, unfortunately. However, it was absolutely incredible. It was such a cool place, and there was so many beautiful scenic spots to go and see and visit, and loads of Aboriginal rock art everywhere as well. And I was so excited to see all of this because I've not really seen much of it before, and there were so many places that you could go within the park that had all this rock art. And as well, if you had a four-wheel drive, there was lots of places you could go swimming as well, waterholes and things like that were safe to go to. Unfortunately, as you know, our van doesn't like going off-road, so we didn't do any of that, but definitely if we went back again and we had a four-wheel drive, I would love to go and do some of those places as well. But as I've already said a million times, it is a really incredible place, and so green as well, which really surprised me. I wasn't expecting it to be this green, but so beautiful. We also met our first huntsman spider. It was hiding on one of our chairs, and so every time I picked up a chair after that, I was freaking out. So yeah, that was our little spider friend that we made. Our next stop on our Northern Territory adventure was heading towards Darwin, where we met some of my distant relatives, which was really fun as I've never met them before. We actually ended up staying in this little Airbnb, which was more like a motel because it was just way too hot to stay in the van, and it was next to an airbase, so they had lots of cool helicopters and planes and things flying in. But we had a really fantastic time in Darwin. We went on a crocodile jumping tour, which was just insane. Like, seeing these huge crocodiles up and close was genuinely scary, and I'm so glad that there was the barrier between us and them because yeah, it was petrifying, but also very cool at the same time, seeing them jumping out the water and just how dangerous they are. And we also had a little wander around the town and went to the night markets as well, which was really lovely. There was so much food to choose from, and everyone went and sat on the beach to watch the sun go down. Whilst we were in Darwin, we did the Litchfield National Park, so just be aware you do need a park pass for this if you're not local, but it was really beautiful, really easy to access, and it's about a 3-hour round loop if you just drive it without stopping. But what we actually did was we left Darwin and we drove down to the magnetic termite mounds to start with, and then from there we went on to Florence Falls, where we had a swim at the waterfall, and it was really pretty, and it actually wasn't too busy when we went. There wasn't too many people, so that was really nice and refreshing. And we also went to Beauty Rock Hole, which was heaving, so we didn't stay very long there. And then we went and had a look at Tolma Falls. We didn't walk down because it was too hot to do that. And then we drove to Wangi Falls, got out, had a look, and then we actually went to Berry Springs for a little swim there. But overall, it was a really fantastic day, and you should go and visit if you get the chance. Whilst in Darwin, we also got Henry's windscreen fixed, which is very good, and then we were actually on our way and leaving Darwin and heading down south. So we decided to stop in at some caves on the way called Cutter Caves, and we actually had a really knowledgeable guide, and he showed us all around the caves, showed us all the different rock formations and things like that, and told us about the history of the cave and the stories. And we just had a really fabulous time here. There was so much to see and so many incredible stalagmites and stalactites, and there was even some bits that looked like they were glittering, so that was really enjoyable. As you can tell, I'm just editing this back and realised that I don't have any sort of outro or anything, but I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry that it's a bit shorter and a bit more disjointed than previous weeks. Basically, I think because it was so hot, I just forgot to film things. Like, I don't really have that many photos or videos of our time in Darwin, and most of the stuff that I took was in portrait form, like rather than landscape. So hopefully you still enjoyed it and you got like a rough idea of the things that we got up to. But I guess the moral of the story is check the temperature before you're heading to Northern Territories, because we didn't, and we really struggled with it. It was just too hot for us, and even the locals were saying that it was unusually hot for that time. I mean, there was a heat warning, so what can I say? But otherwise, a really incredible place. You definitely need to try and go visit if you are in Australia, and I definitely would like to go back at some point to go and sort of explore things properly when it's not in the 40s every single day. But anyway, I will hopefully see you in my next video where we are going to be heading to Perth. Bye!